Hello, my name is Hector Acuna, and I'm starting this new series of videos that covers some feedback and introductions into the various tools and materials that I like to use when painting, either here in my studio or outdoors in plein air. So this is the first video in the series, and today I'm going to be talking about a very affordable and effective clip light or clamp light that I like to use when painting nocturne paintings. This has also been a very handy tool for various display purposes and needs at events and shows, and even here in the studio when I'm trying to control the lighting conditions for a painting. So the light is made by the company called Glocusent, which hopefully you can see here if I hold it up close. And it is a 57 LED clip light, which is really affordable. As I said, it retails for about $30 on Amazon, and it varies depending on the sale price. So currently at the time of recording this video, it's actually 40% off on Amazon, so it's only $18. And I travel with it. A lot of times I'll put it right into my backpack with the rest of my plein air gear, and I've had no problems with the light. So one of the reasons why I chose to buy this clamp light is because I was preparing for a plein air event in Mineral Point, which has a nocturne paint out during the event. I've only had the light now for a little over 3 months, and so far it's been holding up really well. One of the things I really like about it so far is that it seems to have a pretty long-lasting battery life. When I first got the light, I didn't even have to charge it out of the box, and it worked for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours before I started to notice that the lights were getting a little dim. Some of that is really hard to prove and to remember. So obviously it's going to vary depending on how charged your light is, but we'll see after a year how the battery is holding up. But that's one of the pros I've noticed so far about this light. So it takes a micro USB cord to recharge the battery. Unfortunately, I don't remember if it comes with its own cord, but micro USB cords are pretty easy to find. In the middle of the light, you have the power button, which turns the light on and off, as I blind myself here. And then this button here changes the brightness of the light. So it has, I think, like 4 or 5 different settings. So you can see if I hold my hand here, push the button, the brightness changes. I think this is the brightest level here. So, and then it goes back down to the lowest level. So then on this side of the power button, we have our temperature button, which the light comes with 3 different temperature settings. So we have a very warm light, a very neutral light, and then a very cool light. And I try to keep my setting always on the neutral temperature setting. That way my painting doesn't alter very much while I'm working to compensate for a very warm or very cool lighting condition. And then the last thing that you'll notice is the battery indicator. So right now it has about a 50% charge. There's 4 little lights that will show up. And then when it's charging, it'll also give you that indicated light that you're currently charging the battery. And then on the other end, we have a very strong clip, which again, so far I've had no problems with the strength of the clip. It has a pretty wide base, which is nice, and it can clamp to a pretty decent amount of space. So it's about 2 hands worth of space, at least for me. So it opens up to quite a big range to be able to clamp onto. So you could clamp this to your easel, you could clamp this onto a frame of a painting, most likely, if you're not using a float frame. You can clamp it onto trees or other architecture and tools that you might have around you in your setting as well, which is really nice to be able to just clamp onto different surfaces as opposed to having to twist onto like a T-nut or some sort of camera tripod mount. Here are a few images of nocturne paintings that I've used this for so far out in the field, where you can see how much light is being used during the process of the painting. The last thing I'll say about the light is that it's relatively lightweight. It doesn't weigh very much. So for plein air painters like myself, it's really handy to have, especially if you plan to be more mobile with your gear and you're trying to be really sensitive to the weight of your setup and your painting rig overall. I like to work with everything right on my backpack, so that way I can move around pretty quickly. I tend to work on sort of mid-scale paintings outdoors, so I don't typically travel with a lot of wet paintings all at the same time, but I can't imagine that this would take up that much more space. And honestly, I often store the light on the outside pocket of my backpack. But as you can see, the stem for the light also has kind of a memory, and you can twist this to have it take up even less space, which again is also really helpful and handy to have. It's a light that I've been recommending to a lot of my friends, especially when there's a nocturne sort of paint out component to an event somewhere. Because oftentimes nocturne painting can be a lot of fun, but the challenge is making sure that your lighting condition is what you want it to be. And I've been in so many situations where I used to use a headlamp for my light source, and not only was it a problem with a glare on a wet oil painting if I'm looking directly at my canvas surface, but I would have to move my head sort of to the left and to the right side of the canvas to be able to really see what was happening with my values and my colors. But oftentimes you can't really control the color of the light of your headlamp either. So a lot of times I would bring my paintings back indoors or look at them under daylight the next day, and the colors and the values would be much different than what I had anticipated. Most of the time, the paintings would be a lot darker than I wanted them to be. Which reminds me, a tip: if you do decide to get this light or a similar kind of piano clamp light, I would highly recommend not using the brightest setting on the light, because what happens is, as you're working outdoors under a night sky with very little ambient light, the very bright light coming out of your clamp light is going to it's going to make a lot of your dark colors on your painting appear much brighter than they really are. Now, if you work more in the middle range of brightness for the light, you're working in a lighting condition that is much closer to what you're going to find when you bring your painting indoors or in a gallery setting later on. And this is something that I've learned the hard way, where I've forgotten to bring the brightness down on the light, or it's so hard to see the palette or other areas of my setup that I've relied on the brightest setting. And unfortunately, the painting is what really suffers when we do that. So that's just one little tip if you do decide to do any nocturne painting with this clamp light. But I think that's all I have for this video. I'm gonna try to keep all of these videos really short and brief. That way you can just get the help and information as soon as possible and watch the next video, or come back to my channel down the road and see what's new in this playlist. I did link this exact model for the light in the description of the video. So if you wanna find this light on Amazon, head down to the description of the video where I have the link pasted there. So I'll go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you could get something out of it. Let me know if you decide to get one of these clip lights, these piano lights, and what you think. If you already have a light that you really like, feel free to let us know in the comments. YouTube is a wonderful place to be able to learn from one another. So if you have feedback or ideas, feel free to share those as well. And then the last thing I'll say is, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up or a comment letting us know that you enjoyed the content. If you want to stay up to date and current with my videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to learn more about my work, please visit my website, acunaarts.com. That's ACUNAARTS.com, where you're going to find my full portfolio. I have a lot of really cool teaching resources, information that I've just been collecting and giving out for free right on my website that is a really good introduction to any workshops that I like to teach. So check that out if you're interested in taking a future workshop, or if you just want to learn more about painting. And then the last thing is, I do have an independent shop that I run on my website where you can find framed original paintings that are on handmade supports and canvases. They're in handmade frames that I've labored over with a lot of love. So feel free to check out those works as well if you want to either start your art collection or add to your art collection. And if an original painting isn't something you're looking for, also check out some of my printed merchandise as well, where I have some stickers and some self-published books as well. So that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. And if you have any ideas for future materials or tools that you would like me to talk about or share, let me know in the comments, and I'll start working on those videos as soon as possible. Okay, I'm Hector. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.